starts a thinking process on the current problem any industry faces. Distinguished farmers and the delegates. I am from an institution which more looks towards the aquaculture. In brackish water sector, it does not only mean the coastal aquaculture sector. We are more towards the production technologies. At present, we are not into the processing sector, but definitely we understand its importance, the 4 pillars of the shrimp sector. Shrimp is a wonderful commodity. It's something commodity which is liked world over. It's liked world over, and if we go back to the in the early of the 2000s, growth of shrimp is not only from the point of view of the production and the money. There was agreement between World Health Organization and Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations that it is not only the production of seafood should be increased, but consumption should also be increased. It was a big move. It was a big move because of the concern towards the non-communicable diseases like diabetes and all these kind of diseases. All this move started world over. And many of the countries at that time brought that advisories that this much population, every week they should have consumption of seafood. And seafood was recognized among horticulture product, anti-tobacco missions, and seafood was the one product which was identified as a health product. So we must say, popularize among Indian population also, it is a health product. So that was the move to prevent the populations from non-communicable diseases, increase the consumption of seafood. Now comes, if you are to increase the consumption, from where the production will come? That is the whole story of Vanami, why Vanami came into the picture. Then there was study which brought that consumption can only be increased if it is affordable and available. That means consistent supply of availability of the material and affordable to the population. Monodon was not affordable by majority. When we were studying, we only used to hear that shrimp is only exported from India. That's for the population in US and the European Union. So Indian population used to eat small shrimps and trash and all that kind of shrimp which come from there as a seafood. That was taught at that time. But today if we see, shrimp is one of the cheapest meat available today. So time has come when we can popularize it among Indian population also. We are a big house of non-communicable diseases. India is full of diabetes and all the diseases. So we need to popularize the seafood like the world did. And that was a big strategy. A trash shrimp found in South American countries, they genetically improved, but unfortunately when they improved it, it became more susceptible to diseases. So it cannot be sold. Then they brought the concept of specific pathogen free, so that from that, when it is transported from one country to another, it does not carry the disease. That system came and that worked. Now interesting thing is, 29 countries out of the American range where the Vanami is found, they are cultivating Vanami. Now that was a move to cultivate in a larger area so that their populations can get it back. Affordable shrimp. And affordable shrimp they can get back, because if they cultivate in their own countries, they cannot cultivate that quantity, they cannot cultivate in that prices. But at the same time, why I am telling this story, we need to learn the lessons from the strategies. This was a big strategy, and as a byproduct, it gave US a big market of brood stock, which still they hold with them. It's a big business of brood stock, which ultimately gave back to them. Business, health, food, which they cannot grow at their own. It is grown in these Asian countries, and they are able to get back. And many of the times, and particularly in these days, we are facing the problem of shrimp becoming a weapon of geopolitical concerns also, rejections. Many times they are because of geopolitical concerns, because of relationship between the country. Many of times which happened with China, where China rejected our consignment, it was more of geopolitical concern. Then came our crash of Thailand. It removed a lot of shrimp from the table. 6 lakh ton to 2 lakh ton Thailand came down, most of the Southeast Asia. If you analyze MPDA data, India earned 50% more dollars in those 6 years with the increase in production of only 12%, because the shrimp prices went world over. Till 2019, we went on earning because we didn't have those diseases. And we could prove to the world through surveillance that India does not have AHPND, early mortality syndrome. Then at the same time, we had another story of Ecuador coming up. Ecuador has got very strategic advantages. Shrimp, Benami is their own germplasm, which we don't have. America is at their doorstep. And affordable shrimp they are producing and selling. Now, which Thailand made the gap of 4 lakh tons and prices went up. When Ecuador started producing that, prices are bound to fall. When the production started increased and consumer remains same, prices has to come down. That is the reason why prices we should not say it is coming down. It is correcting itself to its natural levels of the production and consumption cycle. They are correcting. But it is a loss to us because we are losing the revenues and a big competitor is appearing. But at the same time, why we were feeling that our industry was more trying to get into the worlds of the Ecuador, that they are doing having high genetics, they are producing SPR, they are producing SPT. How it is possible? They are doing low stocking density. In low stocking, low social distancing, you have experienced corona. So low social distancing, obviously viral attacks will be less. That's where the Ecuador is they are using the natural population. Now, we have to, this is a business. You know more than me the business. Business is always competitive. And competitiveness always makes one competitor to confuse the other. That's what Ecuador has done for us. That's saying that what is not available, we remain searching that. Now, what we are trying to do, we should look forward. We should work on our strengths. What strength we have, rather than thinking what Ecuador is doing. What the way they are doing, we cannot do. We do not have that advantages. So our strength is, number one, we are using genetically improved variety. We have got a surveillance system. We have got a quarantine system. These are our strengths. Let us think in terms of those strengths. Recently we have come out, but Aditya has spoken recently just now about that. We have demonstrated one new age shrimp farming system. We are trying to make it more adaptable to the, and when we developed that, we had in the mind that it should be adaptable to even for the small scale farmers. Because the round tank systems, what in the world they are the high investment ones. Like in Singapore, there are 33 farms of round type in the world, but they are very high investment. What we have tried to do, we have worked on the line that we produce quality shrimp with a minimal risk of diseases, with a minimum risk of rejections, at the same time with the lowering the cost. We could produce shrimp, including the depreciation of the infrastructure. We could produce shrimp at 165 to 170 rupees per kg. We have brought another feed also, which is very low costing, which I field tested, that gave in pond system 10 tons per hectare. And that is made based on the mustard oil cake. People say the shrimp will not eat mustard oil cake. But sometimes we have to think other than what people say it will not happen, we are trying to do. And that cost us, the company which has bought that technology, they will be able to sell at 70 rupees kg. So that is, we produce the shrimp of 30 grams in 120 days using that feed. And cost of production is quite low. So what I mean to say, in case we have to counter the Ecuador, we must make more saving to the farmer. If we lower the cost, if prices fall, farmer still has got resilience. You cannot control the international price. But if you can reduce your production cost, you can still make profit. That's what I mean to say. And best management practices. So, and then the quality shrimp. Ecuador cannot give more than 15 gram size, 10 gram size, and that they are growing in that. But in our system, we have been able to produce nearly 28 to 30 gram size under very high stocking density of 240 per cubic meter. Ecuador uses 10 to 20 only per cubic meter. We use 240 per cubic meter. And industry has a concern whether that is permitted under the Indian guidelines. Already guidelines have been submitted to the ministry, and we expect within a month or two that will get notified for the higher density culture. So we call that super intensive precision and natural shrimp farming system. We do not add anything other than the feed. We have only tried to give a healthy ecosystem to the shrimp. Believe me, we, under the fear of the disease, we try to put so many things which are not actually required, but that add on to your cost, which are not required. Shrimp needs healthy environment only. It does not need any of this probiotic. It has its own, every animal has got a bacterial flora in its gut. That itself act like a probiotic. You need healthy environment rather than going on putting the chemicals. Best practices. And last point for production system is the insurance. We have already come out with the 3 products with the 3 companies, and they are still trying to work out in the market. One is Oriental, another is Agriculture Insurance Corporation, and third, which is coming, is the DigiSafe Insure. Fourth, we have signed an MOU with Tata AIG 2 days before, and next company which is coming is Bajaj Alliance. So these are the activities, because we don't look only the saving. We look that with the insurance coming up, farmers will be having more encouragement to follow the best practices. Once the best practices start coming in place, there will be less risk of diseases. So that is on that production front. Now coming to the consumption, domestic market. India is a very unique country. It cannot be what other countries do, we cannot do that. It is like a continent. We have to categorize and target among those who will eat what. In our country, tilapia people, it was not successful. It is not simply if in Bengal the katla head is used, they will use tilapia head. It is not possible. In Thailand and all, if you see, they just bake the fish and eat it. Our people may not eat that way. And again, we have categories. Some people will eat only egg, leave the pure vegetarians. Some will not eat chicken, some will not eat beef, some will not eat mutton. And many non-vegetarian people don't eat the fish because they don't like smell, or particularly from north, like from where I come. If spine is there, that is a big problem for us. But now shrimp, if you popularize, it fits all the bills. I went to one celebration in the Dr. Atar feed. I studied in Haryana. I could not believe our farmers are so knowledgeable on shrimp and they can eat so much shrimp. That night, how much shrimp they ate, I could not believe that. So there is consumption, which we do not know. There is potential, which we do not know. But we have to reach to the right targets to eat them, to make, again, the shrimp make affordable and available to them. Our online services are doing wonderful job. But if you see, if I compare the place like in Tamil Nadu, we are developing a project for increasing the consumption. We're trying to work on those factors. One of the main thing is the people who can eat the shrimp, they are not getting it. Suppose I compare Chennai, coastal area, shrimp is available, people eat. But if you take to Coimbatore, there's no shrimp in the local market. But they eat the fish. They're the fish eaters. Northeast, they all are 100% fish eaters. But shrimp doesn't reach there. We have to make shrimp to reach to the people who can eat, potentially eat. Rather than making, and we have many people who doesn't cook at home. Ready to eat food can be a big choice for them. Ready to snacks. Some people may like to eat snacks. So we may have to diversify the products out of the shrimp so that people can eat at their convenience, the way they want. And last point, through our higher offices and like DDG is here and ministry department is there, can we network with the potential consumer like RCTC? RCTC sells non-veg food in the trains. Can we have tie-up with them that seafood can be one of the options of their food? They give a choice. Can we have in our domestic airlines does not serve seafood, but they serve all non-veg? Can we have them that they can have a choice of seafood in the domestic airlines? Last is the defense, where the mess system is there. Can we provide this processed shrimp as a high protein, can be useful for our defense forces, paramilitary forces? Can we have this shrimp into that supply chain? There can be an enormous potential of consumption if we can put into this kind of consumption. Thank you very much, and thank you organizers for having me here.